We are live on YouTube. Hi everyone, I'm really excited and honored to interview Janine Yorio. She is the managing director of Republic Realm Crypto and head of Republic Realm. So I'm very excited for your time to do this.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting to be here.
Yeah. So Janine, can you share what are some moments which got you into virtual real estate?
So as a fintech and real estate entrepreneur, one of the things you do when you're in tech is watch what's happening next. Usually, by definition, you're usually wired to be an early adopter. So my team and I were cautiously watching Decentraland for a while, thinking, okay, is there something here? This is kind of interesting. It looks cool. And then very quietly, the prices of land on Decentraland started creeping upward. And that was the point at which a bunch of people on my team kept saying, I think we need to watch this. There's something here happening. And then last fall, NFTs started becoming a thing with Top Shot, and then very soon after Beeple. And the NFT boom, as you know, really started to gain steam in the winter of last year. So we decided basically on a lark to start a digital real estate investment vehicle, thinking if we're interested in it, there are probably other people who are also interested in it. Let's see how this works. So we put up a website and we started talking to potential investors, and one thing led to another, and it's actually turned into an entire platform now because the interest in the space has exploded. As you know, the number of metaverses that are now in formation is well into the hundreds. The price appreciation of metaverse real estate NFTs has been explosive over the last 6 months. And it's become an opportunity that's even bigger than what we originally thought it might be. And now we're in the process of doing lots of different things in the metaverse, not just on the real estate side of things, and building out an entire investment and innovation platform at Republic Realm.
That's amazing. And uh, what kind of research or framework you used when you were starting out? Because you didn't had any precedent at that time.
I think having a startup mentality means trying to figure out things that nobody's done before and trying to figure out what are the problems to solve one by one, rather than looking at the entire space and thinking, wow, this is an overwhelming set of problems. I can't figure it all out. So we used traditional structures. We used traditional lawyers. We used traditional language. When we talk about it, we talk about it like it's real estate. And I think that makes it much more accessible. And we knew there was an opportunity, but we didn't really know what the opportunity was exactly. So we tried to be as open-minded as possible because the metaverse is evolving so rapidly. What we know today is popular and growing may look very different in 6 to 12 months. So we wanted to be fairly open and broad about what we could do with this platform, but also be clear enough so that people who are new to the space, which is almost everybody, felt comfortable doing it.
I see. And can you share the initial ideation phases for uh, your two main projects like Fantasy Island and Metajuku, and challenges while developing those?
So Metajuku was our first project in the metaverse. I love Tokyo. I'm obsessed with Japan. And I figured that given how futuristic Harajuku, the neighborhood is, and the anime culture in Tokyo, I thought that would be a good first project for us. It spoke to me personally. TJ Kawamura, who's on my team, is of Japanese ancestry. And so he and I just thought that was a fun starting off point. We had to figure out how to do it. So the first thing we did was hire a real world architect who made sketches for us. And we took pictures of Harajuku and we said, make it look like this, but better, but more colorful, more like a video game. And then we had to figure out how to convert those sketches into files that could then be turned into a metaverse project into Decentraland. So it was, again, just kind of putting one foot in front of the other and figuring out what the problems are. We started with a mood board, just like a traditional development project. We started with a real world architect, just like a traditional development project. In Decentraland, there's zoning. So you have height restrictions. You don't have setback requirements, and you can use whatever materials you want, which are a bit different from the real world. But you can only build a certain amount on a parcel of a certain size. And the beautiful thing about building in the metaverse is you have no physics. So things can levitate. Things can be odd shapes that would in real life fall over. So the opportunities are endless, and it's really just limited by human creativity. But we did a lot of things that echo how you would start a real estate development in the project in the real world: ideation, architect, pencil sketches, zoning restrictions, and then, okay, what can we build on this parcel and how are we going to make it happen? When we went to do Fantasy Islands, we thought about, what do people want? how do we give people something that they want, and who doesn't want a private island, right? I mean, it's kind of, Richard Branson has one, it's the ultimate sign of having arrived. And again, the whole point of the metaverse is you can be your best self. You can be even better than your best self. You can be beautiful and rich and strong and tall and all the things you may not be in the real world. And owning a private island, we felt, was emblematic of the kind of fantasy escapism that people really wanted, in the wake of the pandemic and all the sort of low grade depression we were all suffering. So we ideated about what it is. We decided private islands would resonate really well. And once again, we hired an architect. We pulled from real world examples and pulled pictures of villas that we liked. And we said, okay, let's make villas that resemble vacation destinations around the world, kind of the lifestyles of the rich and the famous. And we sketched them out. We built them in 3D models, again, just like you would in a real estate development project. Then we hired a game developer to work with us to build them for the metaverse. And then we decided to sell them. So there's a point at which it looks exactly like a traditional real estate development project. And then there's a point where it goes completely into the video game side of things. And I think that's what makes this so interesting. There's a crossover, and there really is a need for a different assemblage of talent than what we ordinarily would have. Normally, architects and game developers probably don't work together. They're environment developers in video games, and they're architects that do conceptual rendering. But I think for the first time, these two groups of people are doing things together and building these projects together, which is a really exciting time.
That's quite interesting, because like most of my audiences are people from architecture background. So my next question is, how are like architects can connect with to like virtual real estate developers like you and start developing more projects? What are the opportunities?
So the impediment to starting your own project, you just need to buy land in one of these metaverses, and then you need to figure out whatever native software program they use, to figure out how to use it. As a plug for what we're doing, we're always looking for talented people to join our team. We just hired an architect recently. We have 3D developers already on the team. So to the extent that people listening to this live stream are interested, they should check out our job listings on republicrealm.com. We try to keep those updated. But there are a lot of opportunities to just dabble in this space yourself. You go buy a parcel of land in any one of the metaverses and figure out how to build. And it's pretty user-friendly. It's made for people who can't code. Obviously, the better you are, the more creative the designs can be. But I believe, given the nature of your listeners, there's a lot of people who know how to use 3D rendering software, and this would be like second nature for them.
Got it. And while developing these projects, were you nervous at any point?
No, because I come from a traditional real estate background, and I come from a long line of architects. There is no, the basement never floods. There's no environmental conditions that have to be remediated. It is software. I think I was concerned that we wouldn't have the ability to build anything cool in the metaverse, that, we have these renderings and they look cool, but then when we deploy them, it might look a little less cool. And there was definitely some loss of fidelity like that, because the platforms themselves have limitations from a technical standpoint. But it's so early in the space that people are rewarding risk-taking and creativity that I wasn't nervous. I think as we start spending more money and time on projects, making them more elaborate, certainly it becomes much more risky, and we'll definitely, have some trepidation about all the things that we're trying to do, because our plans are very ambitious. But when we did those first two, we didn't know what we didn't know. And I think that was actually helpful in overcoming that feeling of being ill-prepared.
I see. And there are a lot of amazing developments going on in blockchain space right now. So how do you keep up to date and spot a trend?
So we have a team of people that work with us at Republic Realm, one of whom does nothing but all day, every day tracking new metaverse projects. He's got the coolest job in the world. He is a nationally ranked gamer, so he loves gaming and thinking about how not just to build a metaverse, but how to attract and retain players and users. And he watches the landscape, he watches Discord, he listens to Telegram, he's on Twitter, he's looking for what's new and what's next. He meets with the management teams and talks to them, making sure that they have the tech chops, the marketing chops, the idea that's likely to resonate with players to ensure that they are more likely to succeed than other platforms. At any given time, we're tracking about 200 metaverse platforms, and that's his job, just to eat, sleep, and breathe those metaverses and do tons of research and really formulate opinions with conviction so that we know which ones to participate in. Today, we own over 2,000 parcels of metaverse real estate across 13 different metaverse platforms, and we're adding new ones every single day.
I see. And what excites you every day?
Just how big this opportunity is. I think it's enormous. I think there's so much white space. I think there are a lot of cool companies cropping up because there's money, so there's talent being drawn to it. But I think the opportunity is to really mainstream this concept of the metaverse and bring more non-gamers to the space, more non-crypto people, more women. And those are groups that tend to be overlooked when it comes to gaming and crypto. I mean, it's not that they're not there, but very few things are built for them. And I think that's to the detriment of the industry. 51% of the world's population is female, and women are aggressive users of social media. And if we think about what is the metaverse, it's really social media gone immersive. It's social, it's about connections, it's about lots of things that women like. It's not about killing other people, right? That's what a lot of video games are about. It's about meeting other people and buying things. And those are things that women are particularly drawn to. So I'm excited to see the metaverses that are going to come up that think about things that way, as opposed to, the Ready Player One construct that we've all seen is a bit more dystopian than I think would be attractive to most mainstream and non-gamer users and women. I think there's a huge opportunity to do things that are a little sunnier, happier, less about destruction and more about forging connection.
I see. And I have like two questions. If you have time, we can cover.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like you have in the past, like interviews, you have covered the framework for investment. How do you decide? So, and almost like the vision of Republic Realm. So, is there anything you have not covered in your previous interviews, but you would like to share here?
I think I'd love to talk about Realm Academy. So Realm Academy is an online educational institution that we're launching in partnership with a lot of really talented minds who are shaping the metaverse, both from the academic world and from the business world. We're launching that later this month, and it's an opportunity for people who want to level up their executive and continuing education to become true metaverse experts. It's not watered down. It's actually meant to be quite detailed and quite technical, because there is such a rapidly moving industry happening behind the metaverse. Understanding what's there so that you can gain sort of parity with other people who've been in the space for a year, 6 months, I think will be very helpful to people as they look to build their career. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's a big opportunity. I'm excited to be at the center of it and bringing brilliant minds together who can talk about it and share knowledge and bring more people into the metaverse. It becomes the more people that love the metaverse, that want to be a part of it, the bigger the opportunity becomes. And that's one of the things I'm excited about.
I see. And where can this kind of like-minded people who are interested in this spaces meet and collaborate?
Discord. Anybody who's not on Discord, get on Discord. The metaverse happens on Discord, and buy an NFT. My best advice to somebody who's trying to learn about the metaverse: go buy an NFT. You will end up getting thrown into the deep end and very quietly get sucked into the allure of the NFT community. You'll start thinking about where you want to display your NFTs, where to meet your new NFT friends. So I think the gateway drug to metaverse adoption is really the NFT world. And I would encourage people just go to OpenSea.com, or I think it's OpenSea, and look for an NFT that's in your price point. There are literally NFTs at every price point, from affordable to incredibly expensive. Find one that you love and get to know the community that surrounds it. And it's a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun you can have during a pandemic, which is why I think it's taken off so precipitously.
All right. My last question is, what's your favorite book, or you could answer what's on your travel bucket list?
What's my favorite book? I really like memoir, but that's probably not that applicable to this particular group. I love The Hard Thing About Hard Things, which is this kind of a startup Bible. A lot of people that are obsessed with startups start there when they're learning about how to think about building a company. And a lot of the advice that was given to me or given to lots of people in that book, but I took it personally and I've used a lot of it throughout my startup career. So I think it's a great entry point for people that want to work in startups. It really does a good job of disabusing people of the notion that startups are fun or easy. People think of startups as like, foosball and beer and high fives. And it's a lot of late nights and terrified, worried about running out of money and trying to find product market fit and trying to find the right people, and doing so without all the resources you need to be successful. So the book is a very honest look at what it's like to be part of a startup, and that I found very, very helpful to me as I began my startup career.
I see. It was great interviewing you.
This was
I learned a
amazing.
lot. Thanks a lot for your time to do this. Have a nice rest